Volume down.
Mm-hmm. Hello. Welcome to Where's Art, a production of the Greater Flint Art Council. I'm your host today, Harold Hill, the Music Man. Our motto at the Art Council is, we grow the arts. And we grow all of the arts, from music to visual arts and dance and so on and so on. And today I have a special guest. I'd like to introduce Gwen Penniman Hemphill. She is one of Flint's premier jazz vocal artists, and I'm so happy to have you today, Gwen. And welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Harold, for having me.
You know, I've kind of known you for a while, and I just want to say that one of my favorite moments of being with you was about 5 years ago at my wedding.
Okay.
That you had that we had the pleasure of having you sing for, and it marked a special occasion for us. And Pat and I are, always grateful for you for you doing it for us.
It was my honor as well as a pleasure to be able to do it with you.
Awesome. So many people don't probably know that the Greater Flint Art Council is a big supporter and promoter of jazz events throughout the city of Flint. And Gwen, of course, has participated in just about all of the things that we've been involved in, and she's been very supportive of helping us out whenever we call her. She doesn't hesitate to come. So Gwen, I'm going to start off just asking you, I want you to just talk about a little bit about about your background, how you got started, some of the things that you've considered to be, milestones,
Okay.
in your career and development.
Okay. Well, I come from an extremely large family, first of all, and music every day from 3 years old that I can remember has always, on a daily basis, been a part of my life. My mom sang, my dad sang, my older brother sang. My other two siblings, they could hold a note, but they were not, I don't think, as confident to get up. But they could tell you when the music was right or when it was not right. And so I started playing piano when I was 5 years old. And my brother at the time was singing with a group called Powerful Source, who used to open up for the Spinners. Mm-hmm. And I was always around sitting when they were rehearsing. So I was always sitting there tuning in, listening to the harmonies and everything, and kind of equating everything in my head as to what I was hearing. And after that, I started singing in the Sunrise Singers once I started going to elementary school. I sang in Sunrise Singers.
I did too. That seemed like everybody had a Sunrise singing group in elementary.
So that was a lot of fun. I also did ballet, tap, and jazz dance in elementary as well. And from there, we moved from the Flint area out into the Beecher area. And that's where everything kind of really opened up for me, because I was in choir there. I was, and we had, Beecher was known for the Black Arts Festival. And there was oodles of talent there, just like a miniature Motown, so to speak. And every year there was something going on, thanks to Mr. George Moss, who was our Black History teacher, but he was also in charge of the Black Arts Festival, which he made sure every year we had a blast. And from there on, I sang in 4 different groups there. I always wanted to sing, but I was always too shy to do it by myself, until ended up in several groups from junior high school all the way through high school. And so from there, I went on after graduating from high school. I was in a group then as well. And then from there, once I started going out to the clubs, I again still had that nervousness of being on stage by myself. until one night I just couldn't take it anymore. It was the energy and everything was so high and good. And I got up there thinking, okay, I can do this, I can do this. And I got up there and froze for about 15 minutes. I couldn't say anything, I couldn't move. And then
Wow.
I was trying to figure out, okay, I've gotten myself up here, now what do I do? So the only way that I could block everyone out and actually get my thing together in my head was to close my eyes. And I closed my eyes and I could sing because I didn't have to look at all the people that were looking at me. And I never will forget it, because when I opened my eyes, all this money was on the floor. And I was just standing there, just startled, didn't know what to do. And from that night on, it was like, I can do this.
You can do this.
So it went on for about 4 or 5 years, that every time I heard my name called, I would get nervous right at the last moment. Sometimes I'll say, okay, just give me a few minutes, because I'd have to go to the bathroom and come back. And after a while, it became a part of me to where I wanted to be doing it all the time. So I know a slew of musicians. Worked with so many of them around here. There's not too many musicians here that I haven't worked with, that I started out with during school and that I met during school as well.
And this was about what time frame?
This was in 70s.
In the 70s?
70s,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
It was in the 70s for me. Actually, for, I'll say, late 60s on into the 70s. And mid 70s is really when I really started doing the clubs more.
There were
And
a lot of
then-
clubs
Yes,
to go
there
to
were.
back then.
That was Alibaba's. There was Piece of the Rock. There was I don't remember the name of this particular club.
Motor
It used to be in
City
Backup,
and,
yes.
and you
Papa's
know,
Bag.
Papa's Bag, yeah.
Which I never had that opportunity to get
Okay.
there. That was one I always wanted, but I never got that chance. And there used to be a club, was it I think it was Alibaba's. Alibaba's used to be in back of
Shorthorn Meat Store back off of Clyde.
Yes.
Off of
Okay.
Pearson Road there.
Yes, but do you remember the club that was in back of McDonald's on Pearson Road?
Yep.
Before, and I don't remember
Yep.
the name of
Yep.
it, but I sang there at that club as well. There's not too many of them that I didn't get. One of my favorites in the earlier parts was the Nesters Club. And I got a chance to sing there. That was a lot of fun. And I had family members that lived close around, so they were always there to support me. But yeah, that was awesome. But then in my family, my mom and 4 of her sisters, they began to sing gospel. That was during the 70s. Started in the 70s for them.
Did you sing with them?
Yes, I
You
did.
did?
I was like the fill-in person. It was 4 of them, which it ended up being 6 of them, because they had a way of having someone always standing in back of the 2 end people of the 4 of them. Now, the 4 were sisters. It was my mom and one of her older sisters and 2 of her younger sisters. And then my uncle, one of her older brothers, he sang with them as well. And then my dad played guitar.
Okay.
And they did a lot of traveling around all over. And it got to where one of the ladies came down with some health issues, and so they needed someone to stand in, so I would be the stand-in person for her. So they were the first gospel group, women group, to do quartet gospel, where they all were in uniform, where they dressed, where everyone wore the same outfit.
Okay.
Excuse me. So after several times of me having to fill in, I ended up becoming, you may as well say, an actual part of the group, because I had to start uniforming up as well, just as they did. And so it was a lot of fun.
How long did it last?
They sang gospel for 41 years.
41 years. Awesome.
41 years. And what stopped everything was that they started dying off.
Yeah.
Two of my mom's sisters passed in a year, in the same year, and then the following year, two more of them passed. And one of them wasn't in the group, but she was one that was a supporter, always there to make sure everything ran smoothly. She passed away, so it ended up where there was two of the other young ladies that had joined the group that were younger, and one was around the same age as my mom at that time, which was they were like in their late 50s, mid 60s, and she passed away. She had gotten a car accident and
She did.
had a massive heart attack, died instantly. And after she passed away, the only people that was left was the manager of the group and my mom. And so my mom was, she's shy. She started out being real shy, but boy, I tell you, over the years, she ended up being the leader of the band.
I saw her with you guys one day at the Tunes at Noon when she took over the mic. You know, she didn't want to let it go. Yeah. So you kind of started off with gospel.
Yes.
Okay. What made you decide to make the transition to jazz as your genre?
Well, the sisters, a couple of the sisters that did not participate in the gospel group, they played all kinds of music all the time. And the ones that I can really remember hearing the most of was Ella Fitzgerald, Billie Holiday, and Sarah Vaughan. And I would hear them because a lot of times they would, during the time of them cooking, there was always music playing. Always music playing. And so those were some of the main voices that I would hear. I liked the music, a lot of it I really didn't understand. It was more of the music of it all, the instrumentation. And then I began to actually listen to what they were saying. But at 4 years old, I remember this so clearly. Coming from a large family, every weekend there was a party, a family gathering of us every weekend. And with that, I ended up being a little under the weather because back in those days, the children and the adults were not in the same room. The children were in the room playing, and the adults were in their room playing cards, dancing, dominoes, and that type of thing. And
we were down the basement or outside.
Yes,
okay.
Not in the same, you know. And so this particular time I happened to be under the weather. And I remember just like my purse is sitting here, I was sitting this close up under my mom because I was a little tiny thing. And I remember them playing this song, Gotta Find Me an Angel by Aretha Franklin. And I cried and cried and cried because I could feel her pain. It was as if her heart was hurting. And I fell in love with that lady from that song and followed her up until she passed away.
So needless to say, she's one of your favorite.
That's it.
That's the one.
She was the one that started it all for me to where I actually listened. And that was even before I actually got into really listening to hearing my aunt playing the other songs. But this one particular time, I guess because I was under the weather, that I was sitting there and I had nothing to do but pay attention to everything that was going on around me at that time. And that song gravitated to me. I gravitated to it rather, and it got my attention so strongly because I felt her pain.
Felt the pain. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So.
That is, what's interesting about that to me is, you know, seeing your transition, I guess, you know, from gospel to, you know, sort of R&B to jazz to where you are now, you know.
Okay.
Who are some of the big artists that you've been with or you've hobnobbed with, and you know, it's kind of got you going?
Stevie Wonder.
Stevie Wonder.
Stevie did it for me. Stevie, Shaka Khan, Phyllis Hyman, Gladys Knight. They were the ones that I listened to more. Stevie, to me, was way ahead of his time. And even though I was young then, but at that time, listening to him and listening to him now, he was way ahead of his time to me, because the things that he was singing about then became my adult life. And he had already been singing about it, prior to that. Shaka Khan, phenomenal. Just always one that caught my ear. Phyllis Hyman, another one. I used to call her the classy, sassy lady.
Phyllis was definitely one of my favorites.
Yes. Gladys Knight, because of her being so bold. To me, she was bold, and her deliverance was bold as well. And so, and some of the gospel greats were Mahalia Jackson, which is something that my mom and her sisters would play every Sunday.
Now, you travel with or perform with, some of the A-game artists out there.
My first project in that arena was doing background vocals for the group Mary. Oh gosh, I'm having a brain freeze of the name of the group that she was with. What was the name of the group? Anyway, I was hired by Bernard Terry of Mount Morris of Silver Sun Recording to do background vocals for. Mary was leaving the band, and she was becoming solo artist, and that was my first adventure going into the arena of recording professionally. And the band was SOS. Yeah, SOS band.
SOS. Okay.
Yes. And Mary was the lead singer.
Stevie, okay.
The woman vocalist there was Mary. And I got hired to do background vocals for her project, as well as a project for a young man by the name of Keish from Japan. That was phenomenal. I enjoyed that to the utmost, because it was so different singing background vocals for someone in English, and he was singing the music in Japanese.
And were you in Japan, or were you?
No, I did it here at Silver Sun with at Bernard's.
Okay.
And it was phenomenal. At the time, there was a family issue going on, because he wanted me to come to Japan and do a tour with him as one of the background singers. And at that time, I wasn't free to go. So I did get the opportunity to record with him. And again, I said that was phenomenal. His management, everyone. It was awesome, because the people that cooked for him, they came and they were allowed the kitchen at Bernard's house, and they cooked us food for 2 weeks every single day. It was phenomenal. And then later on, it was doing background vocals for Howard Hewitt.
Was there Michael?
Michael McDonald. I actually did Michael McDonald at Pine Knob.
Okay.
That was in the 2000s. Started in 2000s, because everything else was like in 1999. 2003, I think it was, or 2005, that I did the thing with Michael McDonald. I think it was 2000. It was 2005, because my daughter was graduating, and again, that was another opportunity that I missed in its totality, because during that with him, he wanted me to travel throughout the rest of his 6-month tour with him, and my daughter was graduating from high school, and you only get that opportunity once, and I was not going to take that chance to be gone while she was graduating.
Well, that's something I didn't know. I've got to add recording artist to your, to your titles now, as I move forward. Then, when you perform, you cover a lot of artists. Okay.
Yes.
And name some of the favorite ones that you like to cover.
Phyllis Hyman, of course. Aretha, Gladys, Shaka, Stevie, all of those who
Oh.
are instrument that, you know, was stirred in the pot during my cake baking coming up, rising, those are the ones that I still pay homage to them.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
they impacted my life in such a way.
Mhm.
Because a lot of the songs that were recorded were songs that
Mhm.
either a family member had been through something of that nature,
Mhm.
that they, and there he was singing about it. So it was easy for me to deliver the
Mhm.
song because I knew the feel of it. And one thing I've learned is it's easy to, if you're familiar with something that you can identify with that's happened in your life, it's easy to deliver it through song.
Mhm.
At least it is for me.
Now, there's one artist that, you know, at least for a while now, you always incorporate in most of your shows that I've seen.
And that is Etta.
And that is
James.
Etta.
I have such a request for that song that I really didn't, coming up, I really didn't know anything about her.
Mhm.
I learned about her after the fact of, I think it was in the early 2000s is when I really became familiar with her. And there's several other songs of hers that I'd like to incorporate as well.
Too, yeah.
And another favorite of mine is Al Jarreau.
Mm.
Oh my gosh, I simply love his projection of songs, which there has not been one yet with that same style and deliverance. And one that comes maybe a little close is Kim.
Okay.
Kim has
Yeah.
a little
Yeah.
of that.
Who sounds like Al Jarreau. So,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but
That's
Al
great.
was, I got a chance to see his last concert
I
at
remember
Elizabeth Park, and I think it was 2 weeks after that he left us.
that he left us. Yeah. Yeah. First, I remember the first song I heard by Al Jarreau was "We Got By." You know,
Okay.
That's always been
Okay.
my favorite of
Okay.
his. You know. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, I want to kind of bring everybody up to date to what you're doing now. You know, and I know you keep busy. You know, you're still out there. So what's going on?
I absolutely love it. I'm currently at Signature Chop House, which is out in Flushing.
Mm-hmm.
There, it's absolutely beautiful place, inside as well as outside.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, I was there every Thursday for every Thursday I was outside in the patio, and it was absolutely phenomenal. I absolutely loved it. And so I was outside for the summer, and then as the weather began to change, I went inside.
Okay. Well, Gwen, unfortunately, they're telling me that our time is about up now.
Okay, then.
And I certainly want to thank you.
Thank you for having me.
being on the show. I want to thank the viewing audience for tuning in. And you can also catch this on YouTube at Where's Art. You can also tune in to our radio station, WFAH 102.1. Thank you, everybody. This is Harold Hill, your host, the Music Man. Good day.
And my lonely days are over. And life is like so, yeah, yeah. Oh, yes, at last, yeah. Skies above are blue, baby, and my heart is right in clover. because I found a dream that I can speak to, a dream that I can call my own. And I found the dream to press my cheek to, a thrill that I have never, ever known. Smile, baby. Oh yes, indeed, spell was cast. Now here we are in heaven, for you are mine at last. Play solo, solo, been a long time, baby, waiting such a long time, long time, long time, long time. Now,